June 18th, 2023, Father's Day. A tiny life was lost to unspeakable violence. A father stood accused of beating his 5-week-old daughter to death. This is a story of loss, of horror, and of a mother finally speaking her truth. Kevin Van Streefkerk, a 37-year-old father from Cameron Park, California, was arrested and later convicted after prosecutors said he tortured and murdered his infant daughter, Alia. Much of the abuse was caught on video, and Van Streefkerk later admitted he, quote, beat the living daylights out of her. But before the tragedy, there were two people building a life together and a tiny baby who changed everything. What you are about to hear now is Amber Kavanaugh speaking in her own words about that day and the aftermath. This is a perspective that she has never shared publicly.
I'm trying to get the voice out there because what I went through is totally different from normal TV stories. It's been almost 3 years now, which is really hard. It's been kind of like I'm still going through the phases. I'm like, wait,
Mhm.
is this normal? Is this what's this? Like,
So, how did you want to introduce yourself to the world?
so I'm Amber Kavanaugh. I'm 35 years old. Right now, I was born in the 90s. Uh, I'm the second oldest daughter from both sets of parents, and I was born with special needs, medically wise. So pretty much since birth till now in my life, I've have a birth defect. So pretty much I've always faced challenges throughout my life. I was bullied by peers. My sperm donor, I call him that. Um, he left my life when I was 12 years old. My mom remarried as well, and she been married to him for 22, 23 years, something like that. And they are wonderful. My dad now, he's been an amazing father figure. He's just kind of been there kind of through the whole teenage life, through everything, especially with what we call in my family the situation. Um, so pretty much I never knew what a healthy relationship was, but I always wanted to find my Prince Charming. Was like I knew I had it in my head. I was like, this is the guy I want. It was when I turned 24. We first met, we started talking on January 27th, 2015. And then we had our first date on January 31st, 2015. And ever since that first year, it was um it was amazing. He was great. He did everything that I wanted in a person. He was a true Christian. That's what I wanted. Was a found my faith, have my faith in my relationship because that meant the world to me. Um,
About a year into the relationship, Amber started to notice subtle red flags.
his parents, it was off. I was like, okay, I'm not allowed at your house. This is kind of weird. We've been dating for over a year and I have not been to your house. It's weird. All of a sudden, end of 2015, we actually had our first real fight, and he came out and had a porn addiction. So that was like he already told me, but I didn't know how bad it was. So he tried that. We kind of been working on it. And then he was also a teacher assistant or student worker. So pretty
Mm.
much for us, it's for the school year, August to May, you pretty much work kind of like with this system, but it's also like you're a student, so you have to go to school to stay as a student kind of thing. So that July, um, we call it, when him and I we were together, we call it the summer from hell because he was with his father all the time and his dad had a bad influence. And he was always negative. He was trying to tear us apart. So I don't know how, but him and I, we stayed together. We got it through. He finally got a job. He finally was getting on with certain things, which
Mhm.
was pretty cool.
So often in the cycle of abuse, couples can get to a point where it feels like things are positive and moving in a good direction. And it seems like that's where Amber and Kevin were at this point.
Um, and then we're like just joking around. It's like, I'm not going to move out with you until you propose. If you want to live together, you got to be my fiance instead. Like, at least I know we're heading to the direction of marriage, be husband and wife. January 27th, 2017, he proposed, which I kind of knew about because it was kind of like obvious what he was planning. And then 2 months later we moved in together because it was like I wasn't in a hurry to move out of my parents' house right away. I wanted to like take our time and find that spot like where we could start our lives. But his parents got involved and then my parents had to get involved because I was stressing out. Like we just moved in together and that first year moving in together was a huge culture shock for me because I was away from my parents for the first time. I was like, I'm living with a guy. I never lived with a guy except my dad. So like I'm learning all this stuff. I had to prepare meals. I had to make sure he was being taken care of. So had to step in that role. Had our downstairs neighbor smoking way too much pot. He was being abusement to his animals. It became a very bad environment to be in. So I looked at him, I was like, and then top of that, he was starting to work nights. I was like, we gotta go. We gotta get out of this place like now. So we moved a little bit closer to our parents and more to our community because we were more farther away and that wasn't very helpful. So we more moved in more a good half point, which that helped. We were in a nice apartment, we were enjoying it, and then things changed. We started looking at porn a lot more often. We had a 2 bedroom, 2 bath apartment, and it was bad. We were fighting constantly. I was just like, and then he started working nights, and I was like, okay. So I got a dog because I needed a companion at night. I needed
Mhm.
someone to kind of be with there with me when I need
Yeah.
sleep. And then it just got worse and worse. And then all of a sudden, um his program uh was ended and he had to switch jobs and he went to a radio station, which for us that was like, hey, it's the next best thing. But we were barely making the bills. Um, we were pretty much tight on a lot of our bills, but we made it work until our lease was up, and then we moved back into our little town. And then we're like, okay, we made this. We're able to like start able to live comfortably. And
Yeah.
then, so once that happened, we said, okay, let's set a wedding date. So by that time, we weren't fighting as much. We were actually civil. We were actually loving each other. We were being who we were. And then February 23rd, 2019, we got married. We said I do. And then ever since then, it was just like a roller coaster with him on and off, like for a while. And then he finally got back to working for the state. which that what made us a lot comfortable when it comes to our finances. It helped us a lot.
Finally feeling financially stable, they decided to start talking about next steps, which include pregnancy and building a family. But Amber was about to learn just how hard that was going to be.
And then I started having health issues. I've been, and then we're like, started thinking about kids. And we went to an actual fertility clinic, and they're like, you cannot be a mom. Like, we cannot grab your eggs. You just can't. Listen, we actually, somehow or another, we found out I miscarried, had two major blood clots. I passed one at our apartment and then one at work. Um, it was a, it was very like discriminating for me as a woman to go through that experience somewhat alone because my family, we don't talk about that stuff. We don't share that intimate detail of having miscarriages. So it really messed with my feelings and all that stuff. And then I was also during a month later, I was also diagnosed with pre-cervical cancer. And then I talked to my specialty doctors. I was like, tell me the honest truth. Am I able to carry? We highly suggest you not carry and have someone else carry for you. I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. It's like friends, Phoebe, she carried for her brother as a surrogate. Why not? All right. Like, that's how I do about surrogacy is friends. And then we went to an amazing fertility clinic here in Sacramento. They're amazing, wonderful team. I am still forever grateful for them. Um, they said, let's try to get your own eggs. Let's try. And then it was his sperm. And then they came back. They didn't retrieve a lot of eggs from me. It was a very hardcore like process for me to go through. And they're like, "Mm, that we had one embryo and that one embryo didn't make it." And I just like, and because of my faith, I was like, please, God, give me an answer. Give me a reason. Tell me how I could be a mom. This meant the world to me to become a mother. And then I really sat down with my OB and like, I think fertility, like I also sat down with the fertility clinic. I sat down with my OB. I was like, I think it's time to do an egg donor. So, and then we also went on a search for a surrogate mother. And this is during the whole 2020 of me battling with endometriosis and then trying to figure out what's going on, finding out I can't have kids, finding out my eggs won't work. Like I was going through the hoops of mentally and physically as a woman. And um his parents stepped in and said, we'll take care of the finances for everything. I was like, all right. Like I had my dad's, I'm like, why don't we sign a contract like between us so there's not a lot of um I put it a lot of misunderstanding and you guys can't control on certain things. They were very hesitant about the surrogate mother that I want because and the egg donor I wanted. But I'm like, well, the egg donor has every characteristic that I have. Her baby pictures looked exactly like mine. I know that's the person that is going to be my egg donor. My surrogate mother, she something with her pictures. We all say pictures are 1,000 words. Just something about her. I just knew she was going to do the best job carrying my little ones. Like, I just knew. And having that interview, having all that stuff with her, I was like, she's the one. Even the distance, she's the one. And she felt the same thing. Her and I became close friends still to this day. Her and I still check up on each other. Her and I have a very good relationship. We're there for each other when those anniversaries come around.
That's cool.
And um so as of August 2022, 31st, we also got another dog. We have several dogs coming in our lives. That day we transferred one little boy and one little girl, embryos into my surrogate mother. And I just prayed. I was like, please, please have these stick. I want to be a mom. Because sometimes first transfers don't stick. It's it's a process. It's like
Mm.
stressful. It's a process. It's draining. And I didn't really have I was the first out of a lot of people to go this route for having kids. So this is like everything new for a lot of people. So they're like learning with me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh. So luckily enough, I had a friend that also was her surrogate mom. So I kind of like reached out to her a lot. I'm like, is this normal? Is it? She's like, absolutely. Like you're going through every intended parent goes through. I was like, all right,
Mm.
cool. And and then we found out she was strictly pregnant the first, no, sorry, the second week of September. We found out she's pregnant. And I was like, yes, she's pregnant. All right, no stock. So we weren't
Mhm.
sure if both embryos died. We don't know if it's the girl or the boy. We weren't sure.
Mhm.
So um, she had some stuff that was going on in her life. So she did a baby gender reveal up where she lived and with her little family, which was really nice to met her family and kind of be part of that. And I met her kids and stuff like that. And luckily enough, it was around Christmas time, and she gave us a bag, and I pull it out, and it's pink. I was like, I just started bawling my eyes out. We're
Oh.
having little girl. Like I knew instantly what her name was gonna be, but it just didn't sound right. I was like, I gotta make it more unique. So um him and we were like going through names, and I was like, how should we spell her name? This way or this way? And he said, this way. I was like, I like that. So we start calling her Alyasandra, Alia for short. And then I knew it was going to be Lucilla from my grandmother, her middle name. So pretty much like she was helping my surrogate mother do staying strong, staying healthy, try to keep her motivated to stay healthy and keep going while she was going through her difficulties. Um, and then I was able to be there for the heartbeat. I was there for the 20-week scan, like even though she had to snuck the phone in a couple of times, but um, I was able to see like there was an app where I was able to access and I got to hear all that. And it's just like, I can't believe that's my little one. That's my little one. And she was a character inside the womb. She was just something else. And then during all this time, him and I, um, 2020, January 2023, we were starting to have issues again. He was becoming more distant with me. He became looking at porn a lot more. He made me felt like I was worthless. I was not his partner anymore. I wasn't his wife. I was just a roommate. That's how he made me feel. That was it's and then also I was going to school. I was trying to pursue my dreams, and he made me feel so incompetent with myself. I didn't even, because I was already dealing with my own health issues mentally and physically. And I was just like, I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. Like, I have a baby girl that's coming. I need to survive for her. She's my main goal. So I was fighting for her, and I didn't realize that he was mentally abusing me during the 8 years that him and I were together. I had no idea. So pretty much, um, so we pretty much like every birthday, I spoiled the shenanigans out of him. I like went above and beyond for him. That's how I do birthdays. I go above and beyond for someone's birthday because it's your day. And then when it came to mine with him, I only got one, like a little something or a card or something little. I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting it. I don't expect things back, but it was just like from when we first started dating, he spoiled me. And then when we moved in together, he spoiled me less and less and less and less.
What Amber is describing is the basic love bombing devaluation cycle. Love bombing creates the illusion of safety. Devaluation creates dependency. The person you met in the beginning wasn't who he became, and it was who he needed to be to secure control.
And also, we were dealing with financial stuff. Somehow or another, he got us into a financial way of in debt. So pretty much we have a little one coming and we're financially in debt. So pretty much he took out loans and then the loan places took out money out of his account. And I was during all this time, I was going to school and I was I took still took a step back from our finances. Normally, I'm like, let's do this, this, and this. He pretty much, when I got sick, he was the one in charge, which in a way I kind of regret it. So I think he had a little stress. I was more stressed. And it was just, we were constantly battling each other and arguing and stuff like that. And it was just bad. He just was a cold person since then. Valentine's Day, he just didn't really put in effort like he used to. Like, just a lot of things, he just became more secretive about things. He was changing his passwords on his phone. He was having certain things that, and he always brought, you know, back then, he always left his phone in the bathroom in our room when he was going to the bathroom, but he always brought his phone to the bathroom with him. It's like, this is just weird. And during all this time, I put up nanny cams because when I'm away at work or when him and I traveled, I wanted to see my dogs. I want to make sure that they're okay and people are coming into my home taking care of my dogs. Like, that's just, I'm very weird about that. Um, we're getting close. I was coming close to my spring semester for school. We're getting close to having our daughter coming up. Like, we were getting very, very close. So the stress was becoming new parents was coming on strong. My surrogate mother gave me a text and said, I'm having Braxton Hicks. So I was like, free labor. Lovely. So I called my mom. I was like, what should we do? Because they were planning up to taking us up there and being there because my parents are very calm. They keep me calm. And I didn't want his parents to be there because they add a lot of stress. And when I wear certain clothing, his dad just gave me the creeps. So I did not, like, if I wanted to do skin on skin with my daughter,
Yeah.
I'm okay with, like, my dad could step out of the room, no big deal. But I wore a tank top and it was like no big deal. But his dad just gave me the creeps on a lot of that stuff. So I had to
Yeah.
wear real, like, modesty clothing. And I
Yeah.
was almost 200 pounds at that time,
Mm.
which I was very heavy. So luckily enough, his parents respected our wishes, and we were gonna meet them later in the week when we kind of got adjusted to our new schedule. And so pretty much Alia was born May 8th at 8:45 a.m. on a rainy day. But as soon as she was born, clear skies, the rainbow is out. She just was 7 pounds, 10 ounces, 18 inches long. She was the healthiest baby girl
Oh.
ever, and she knew I was her mama. So I was very lucky to have her in. I was lucky to be in the delivery room, like by my surrogate mom. Like I was I was able to be hearing that first scream. I was there, and it just I just start crying. I was like, "This is my kid. Oh my gosh." And I got
That's beautiful.
held her. It was the best feeling having that little one in your arms after so long of waiting. It's just like it's here. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm a parent now. I'm in charge for this little human being. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
So pretty much, I gotta wheel her into our little room, and mom's like, "Oh my gosh, she's here. Like, this is yours. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm responsible for this one." Luckily enough, she was a good baby girl. Like, we had a little wake ups during the first night, and I didn't sleep the night before because I was too excited for the
Yeah.
C-section of becoming a mom. I was like, oh my, I was just too excited, so I couldn't sleep the night before. So I was very sleep deprived, and so luckily enough, my parents had it. We shared a door, little room, connected rooms. So we both kept our doors unlocked, and my mom came in, helped me um, understand how to feed her and how to burp her correctly. And I know they show you all that in the hospital, but having your own parent or like that figure in your life to show you like, hey, this is how you do it, like this is how you smooth. It's like, okay, it's like I'm learning. But I was just like holding her. We finally figured out a routine. Like I was with her constantly 24/7. I was her favorite person. She loved getting her hair wet since when the hospital washed her hair. So I was like, I'll just wash her hair every night, like just to kind of like, let her get used to the water. And then I play music and all this stuff because I'm also in school for early child development and then becoming a teacher myself. So
Right.
Olio is kind of like my little I kind of like used her as my guinea pig and like learning what she liked. So I was
Yeah.
able to kind of like play around with this, and we had our music time, then we had our let's run. Like I used her legs and play kick, kick, kick. And I made sure she was very active. And then, of course, it's funny, her and but I slept when she slept. That's why I told sleep when the baby sleeps. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. And then I never left her side, maybe twice with my parents. And I was nervous. We had to go grocery shopping or we had to deep clean our apartment. Like, I knew my parents were like, she is in great hands with my parents. And so pretty much I spent a whole month with her. That's what I could get off of work was a month. I was very anxious of leaving her with him because I was like, I didn't trust him enough. Like I trusted him, but like, is he able to take care of this little thing?
Yeah.
Is he able, like, but he seemed fine when I got home. She was fine. My dogs were fine. Everything was fine. Like was safe. So I spent another week with her, but I had to be at my parents' house and I was taking care of her, which was fun. We had a great time. And then my parents came home early, so I went back home early. And I was like, and then I started not to feel good. I was like, all right, should I call out sick? No, we need the money. Like so I pushed myself to go to school work that day on June 16th, 2023.
Feeling the pressure of life and finances, Amber made the decision to go to work that day. And trigger warning, she's about to describe to you one of the worst days of her life and one of the worst days that a parent could ever experience.
And then at 7:11 a.m., 7:11 or 7:12 a.m., he called and said, Alia had hit her head and she's bleeding through her nose. I think we need to take her to the hospital. So, so that day, I panicked. I rushed home, forgot to call 911. I was just very focused on getting home to my baby. I walked in. Her face was swollen. She had a big knot right here on her forehead. I tried rushing him out of the house to get her to the hospital, and he was driving really slow, no emotions, nothing. I texted my mom, we're heading to the ER, and she dropped what she was doing. She was trying to get herself together. I walked into that ER and I was freaking out as any mother can do. And I was never been on this side of things with what a parent normally sees their child. I was that parent seeing what they're doing with my child. And I believe the nurses, whoever called the police, and pretty much they're trying to figure out how to do things. They actually put a restraining order on him not to see Alia. And that's where it started to begin. The police didn't contact me until we got to UC Davis Hospital in Sacramento. And I remember that day I gave them my phone. I was like, here, I have nothing to hide. I have cameras. I have this. I have this. So I was very willing. They were, so pretty much I told them everything. I gave them all the passwords. I gave them everything. And they say, go ahead and keep your phone, but we might need it later for evidence. I was like, okay. So pretty much they left the room. I was like, I'm curious about what happened this morning. My mom and I looked at each other, so we're going to try to go through back and look at what happened. Before I could go through far to that point, I was cut off. I couldn't see what happened. So pretty much what I've been told, they got it on camera. And they took my Alexa, they took everything except my laptops, which I'm glad they didn't because I need those for school and stuff like that. And so pretty much I had all my pictures, I had everything with Alia, I had everything. His temperament was very bad that whole month with me. I didn't realize he could do that to a little baby girl, his own flesh and blood. So pretty much, um, while my daughter was put on all these machines, I was going through something terrible myself, a UTI. My endometriosis was flaring up, so they had to admit me. My mom stayed with my daughter. So pretty much, I was just like, and then they were able to put, I was able to be with my daughter, just being there for her. And all his parents cared about was, is she still on life support? They did not care. They didn't want to come and see her, say goodbyes, whatever. They put over $80K into into having a grandchild, and they did not care. And then I got a phone call from him saying, I'm in jail. It doesn't look good. I said, okay, well, let's talk later. I'm with Alia now. Love you. Bye. That was my last words to him. And I was still in the fog. I don't remember much. I just remember going through the roller coaster, um, of going through things. I was just like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden, of 24, March 24, I finally put myself in pretty much I put myself on a 5150 because I wanted to be with my daughter so bad. I had to place one dog up for adoption. I had to put two of my dogs in foster care because I cannot give up custody with them, still cannot. And I have one with me. She's my service dog. She goes almost everywhere with me. So pretty much my life has been chaotic. And I was also going to school. I went back to school that spring, and it was just like chaoticness of like, what the heck? And I got help, I got right needs, I got everything. And then July 12th of 2024 at 1 p.m., I said my victim statement. It was probably about 2 to 3 pages long. And I stared him right in the eyes and I just told him like the luck in a simple way of, you're not being forgiven ever from me, but that's God's call. I was the only one that spoke up. And after that, I just, it's like, all right, that's it. I'm going to work on me and do things for me and get my life back in order. Um,
The following are Amber's own words from her victim's impact statement. Your Honor, let me introduce myself. I'm Amber Kavanaugh. I'm standing in front of you heartbroken. I'm the mother of Alyasandra Lucilla. I am her voice as well. My heart is broken. My dreams, hopes, and the future we planned are shattered due to what he did. Alia entered my life with joy and a purpose for life. When she was taken away from me, she was only here for a short time. I was given the greatest gift in life when we got Alia. She gave me something that only a child can give. She showed me what unconditional love was, something that I had not fully understood until I held her.
During all this time, I had to move back with my parents, which also has been a huge blessing in disguise. They've helped me out so much, and I'm always forever grateful for them to allow me to come back home and help me restart my life and figure out where I'm at. Um, as of today, I'm in my last year of community college. I'm hoping to graduate in December of this year with my AA in education and my certification in early child development. And I'm also seeing someone who's amazing. He's he understands to a point, uh, but he's there. He's been helping. He's just a wonderful person. Um, my parents have been the most supportive people that I'm always forever grateful for. They've been helping me with my health issues. Like they just understand where I'm struggling in my health and trying to figure out where to start. So it's kind of been nice to have them to lean back on and be like, okay, I need help. And I'm able to voice my opinions out a lot more versus growing up as a kid. And then I also graduated from trauma therapy. I'm always working on my skills every single day
Amazing.
because, oh, it's, I have severe PTSD. I have separation anxiety. I have night terrors every once in a while, but I work on them during the even I get triggered, I still work on those skills because it's never going to go away, but eventually
Yeah.
it will get easier and I'm a lot stronger in my faith now than ever. Um with my daughter, got her I cremated her, so I have her ashes. I wear a ring that has her little footprint of ashes. I have a tattoo of her little foot. Um, I'm doing my life for her because she cannot live it, but I can live it for her. Um, so this story, it's being in a domestic violence and then bringing in a child. That's and then that abuser goes on to the child without the mother knowing behind their back. That's hard. I was in the dark. He was also abusing me mentally and making me feel bad about myself. Like
Hmm.
it was very difficult. Um, so pretty much my family dynamic has changed a lot, but I know I have my parents, I have my two little sisters, and they are there when we text them.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah. So eventually, my ultimate goal is to um, do a fundraiser, have the fundings eventually, and donate to the Hope Foundation for my county to help children in domestic violence. And then eventually, I would love to own property and open a sanctuary for men and women, of course, because um, we're all human. We go through similar traumas of domestic violence. And if that partner is being the devil, then at least they have a safe place to come and get better and remove their child away so that child does not get injured or more trauma to them. And then they're
Yeah.
allowed to bring their dogs, and I want to set up
Yeah.
a program to get them back on their feet. It'll be like a transitional center so they can like get the therapy they need, get the work if they're like a house part, like I don't know how I want to be like more gender neutral when it comes to that. Um a how like a homemaker pretty much, and they're not were relying on their abuser and they don't have
Yeah.
money of their own, then I want to build their working skills and get them the jobs that they deserve, and then they could grow and then financially grow on their own so then they can move out and be independent themselves.
That's
So
nice.
yeah, that's my ultimate goal. And then obviously um I'm a corgi mom of 2. And then I have a little chihuahua, and my corgis, all my 3 dogs, they do amazing jobs. I train them myself. They do everything from PTSD, anxiety, to depression. They all do their own quirks. My 2 corgis are very similar when it comes to their training because I wanted them to, once my girl gets retired, my boy will step in and take her place.
Nice.
Yeah, so she's my girl. She's all over TikTok now. She has her own Instagram. Um, like she's my little buddy. Like I'm gonna try and make sure she comes to graduation with me, and she gets to wear her own Catholic gown because I think she deserves to walk across that stage with me because she's next to my side every time I'm studying or doing homework or trying to do this. She's right there with me, and she's part of my professors adore her. When I bring her to school, they go, "Oh, it's Granny." They remember my dog, but they don't remember me. So, like, it's nice, and she gets me out of my shell. Like,
Yeah.
with everything that has happened, like, I've been somewhat in my shell, but also, like, I'm trying to get out of my shell and kind of like, there are good people out there, even though I went through the worst. Like, I know people probably been through the worst, but we're trying to think he could have done a lot. If I was home, he probably could have done something to me.
Well, I just want to say, like, I think that you're so brave for even like being here and like telling your story and just like hearing all the positivity that you are radiating right now. I think that that's a testament to your strength. So I think
Yeah,
that you're a phenomenal person. And I'm so proud of you for having the strength to have the voice to tell your story and to continue to push forward and, go where you want to go in her
and
honor.
still want to help people,
Yeah.
and still want to help other families prevent anything like that from happening,
It's so easy when something bad happens to give up and to kind of, find the worst in things. And it takes a special kind of person to find the good and grab all the good.
Yeah.
So I think you're a phenomenal person.
Thank you. It's pretty much my faith. The church I've been going to, because the church I was going to for 8 years turned their backs on me. And I was like, "You're not a church then if you preach it, but you don't do the work. That's not church. But if
Yeah.
you do the work and you preach it, that's a church." So that's where I've been going to a phenomenal place. They're very well known. They do so much for their community. They help other people. So I'm trying to get back into it. So then try to make those connections. So then once I'm ready to branch out on my own, I know I have a good faith and church that like will step in, will help you out. Like I
Absolutely.
I adore my church. They helped the Southern California fires that was happening. They help their own people here in the community. They will actually go down to Mexico to help those people in need. They will do whatever money they get into the church, it goes right back out to the community. It doesn't go into their pockets or help in the church or do buildings. No, that's not what my church is about. It's we're going to help. Yes, I got this. I'm strong. I could do anything. I just got to keep pushing forward. Because if you look back, then you're reopening the wound. So if you keep looking forward, that wound will heal.
Yeah.
But you'll have that scar. But that scars, you could cover it up. You can say, "Yeah, I'm a warrior. I'm a child of God. I'm a warrior. Let's fight this thing." So right now, I know he has a plan for me here on earth is to help others in need. And I know that's my calling, especially to little children, because they got a little sweet spot in my heart. Um, I know I'm always gonna be a mom no matter what.
Yeah.
You're
I
going to be an
want
amazing, amazing teacher.
thank you.
Yeah.
I decorated her nursery. It was all penguins.
Oh,
Um,
that's
so the cool thing with the hospital that they did for me, which I'm very forever grateful, because I've always called Alia my little penguin, because we pretty much had it in a different way. Um, this is her first onesie, is
oh,
just hatched, and then had her name,
oh,
and
that's
then
so cute.
so when I squeeze her, that is her last heartbeat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so special.
Alia, her favorite, what I think her favorite color would have been is pink.
Oh, perfect.
Because pink looked amazing on her. Like
Oh,
I dressed that kid up. She had pink Converse, she had a pink hat. Like this kid was stylish. Um, so every year on May 8th, my mom and I will go down the river and we will celebrate her. So my mom and I will get a Togo's or a sandwich from somewhere, and ho we're praying it's a good sunny day, and we'll just go out to the river here locally and throw in flowers. Her fa her flowers, because it's her birth month, is lilies. So
Mhm.
I try to get lilies around her birthday, for my mom and I to enjoy. And we have these, I forget the name of it. It's a big puffball flower, and it comes in pink every year around her birthday. So we grab a bunch of those and just throw it in the river, and my mom will do a little happy birthday song. We both have a good cry out. We will have a good memorial thing for her. Her dogs, all my dogs, they loved her so much. Um, what my oldest, um, Remy, she's very well known. Um, she loved Alia very much. She was always by Alia. If Remy's on the bed and Alia's on the bed, Remy's right there next to Alia. Um, when Alia's in her crib, because I had the crib in the bedroom, Remy always stared right at her. Same with the other dogs, that they all stared. The chihuahua was always under the sheets because that's just how chihuahuas are. They're weird little animals. Um, so they all like kind of were her own little security guards, which I thought was adorable. Um, so pretty much Alia is my light. She so I will wear pink on that day just for her. I want to know that Alia's Alia's angels are out there. That's her the name I'm giving her foundation is Alia's Angels.
Is he's convicted and
Yes.
in custody?
He has been convicted as of July 12th, 2024 to they actually asked me first, what do you want, death penalty? But state California, they don't really do the death penalty, but they'll sit on death row or life in prison without parole. I said life in prison without parole.
You
Yeah,
know, that's
the DA's office definitely, and the victims advocate, like even the law enforcement, um the fighter fighters, the hospitals. I'm forever grateful, beyond grateful for what they've done and got this case closed and moved forward. Yes, my case was the first ever for something this has to happen. But since then, there has been stories here in the Sacramento region where
Mhm.
fathers do the same thing. I want to make those mothers know they're not alone. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have some, like, if you're still waiting trial, if you're in the Sacramento region, please reach out to me and I will go with you and hold your hand and say, we got this. Your monster, he has no control of you. Like, he lost that. He lost it. Like, let's fight for your baby. Let's do this.
Um, I was wondering if there were parts of the system or anything along the way that you think is specifically broken or needs to be fixed, or what changes you think need to happen for other people that might, be facing the same thing.
Needs to change a bit. And like, it just makes me so frustrated. And I'm like, I need to get my voice out there and be heard, because survivors that have gone through it now surviving, I want to help the ones that, like, I'm trapped. I want them
Mhm.
to know that there's a way and there's a will. Let's figure it out, because you you got this in a way,
Yeah.
but our system needs to change to benefit for those who are in a bad situation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. And then I know you said like your parents obviously was like a great big support for you, but what supports along the way do you think were super like helpful to you in your progress? So I know you said like victims advocates, you mentioned therapy. What supports did you have that maybe someone else in the situation could look into
Church,
or reach out to?
the religion, like for me, because I'm a Catholic Christian, um raised, born as a Catholic. The last 10 years I've been going to a Christian church, non-denominational, and help heal my healing process um is my faith. Like, to keep me strong was my faith.
So what would you say like a red flag would be?
um
If someone was in a similar situation, like was it like a demeanor that he had toward the child, or you know what I mean, like
so
toward
it
Alia?
was what I known from, because I never saw what he did to Alia. I never saw it, but what he did to me was his anger. It was pretty much, I call the we all, what I learned in school was the honeymoon phase. He was super, like, he goes violent and then all of a sudden he is super sweet and apologizes and stuff like that. So the honeymoon roller coaster.
Mhm.
Um and then when you, like, when it's not your fault and he turns it around and it is, then that he's manipulating you and you need to kind of like figure out a way to get the hell out,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. So you mentioned like I know I remember you mentioning like all the gifts and things that, in the beginning, like all of that, which is called love bombing. And a lot of people that have been in a like situation or relationship like that can probably notice the same thing. So I think pointing that out to like those things is important, because someone listening might be with a partner that's doing those things, or the love bombing or the gaslighting, like you were saying, the
Manipulating.
manipulation, and they don't realize that it's that. But maybe hearing you say that and explain it that way, they're like watching for that now, they're listening
yeah,
for that,
Absolutely.
those types of things.
for sure. And that's where I didn't know that was unhealthy. I had no idea. I thought
Yeah.
that was just a nice guy doing nice things.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know my favorite, like the flowers, like he just gives me random flowers. Um a lot of occasions he just got me flowers. I don't know what they mean, but over time it was I'm sorry flowers, or I messed up flowers, or hey, I did this, so here's flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So like there was always a reasoning behind it. I haven't really gotten flowers of just because flowers. So it's like I'm still struggling with that. Like, are these just because, or did you do something stupid? So it's kind of
Yeah.
like making me question, but
Mm-hmm.
I say always go with their gut, and like in any
Yeah.
kind of relationship, still kind of like have your guard up. But
Mm-hmm.
like if you have a good solid like relationship,
Yeah.
um like it's good in a way to kind of like make sure like you guys both like communication is always the key. And then like if they do certain things, like they go back on their word or they go do something, then it's like that's a red flag. So like keep your
Mm-hmm.
eyes
Yeah.
open when they do stuff like that. So then it's like, is this a bad relationship, unhealthy, or is this what? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's like, and talk to your safe zone people too. Like
Yeah. Absolutely. Now this may be a little bit of a difficult question, but it's okay. So prior to like the whole time you guys were together,
mhm.
was he ever violent with you? Like physically violent with you? Like or
No,
physically
just
now that's
mentally.
so that's important because I was curious about that because there may be a lot of people, I won't say just women, but people,
Yeah,
out there in relationships and they have these like weird feelings,
yeah.
these like doubts. I don't want to leave my child around this person or,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. And then, where they're like, well, he never hits me, so it's not, he can't do that. You know what I mean? Like he never hits me, so it can't be that bad. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's
Yeah.
why I was curious, and that's very interesting. So that proves it right there.
Well, a
Hmm.
lot of times they're not physical until
Yeah,
they are.
yeah.
Exactly. Like I knew he like threw like stuff at the wall, or like he never aimed it at me or whatever,
Hmm.
but there was anger there.
Yeah.
That's why it's like if um when they do stuff like that and then just like throw something at the wall or whatever, and they're met like, yes, they're kind of not aiming at you, but they're doing something that clicks. That should say like, oh, that could have been me. That wall could have been me.
Exactly.
Like, he was starting to do that. Now looking back, yes, he has done that towards me. Um,
Hmm.
like the first week or so, I was trying to get something done with school, or something happened with school, and he got so frustrated. He threw the phone at the wall and it bounced back and almost hit Alia. And I got riveted. I was like, you're sleeping out here tonight. You're not going to come close to Alia. Blah. Like, I got mad. So, and I made, and she started crying. So it was like, it got me freaked out. So ever since then, I
Yeah.
had this weird gut in my feeling. It could have been her or it could have been me. So
Hmm.
obviously, I should have listened and said, get the hell out. But I didn't listen to that voice.
Hmm.
I think it's also like super important to point out because I remember hearing you say in the very beginning when you were starting to tell your story about how you had never seen a healthy relationship and you didn't know what that looked like.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's super important to point out too, like if you don't know, then you don't know.
Correct.
You can only work with what you know, and you can only do as good as you know. So it's never your fault. Like it's not your fault that you ended up in that situation. It's not your fault that he's a monster. And it's not your fault that you didn't know any better. And now that you do, you will never go back. You would never, go back to that person that doesn't know. But when you don't know, you don't know. And there's, a learning curve there. So I think it's also important to point out to victims and to yourself that, that part's not your fault.
Yeah.
The part where you don't know any better, you just don't. And people like that prey on people who don't know. They
Yeah.
prey on people who don't know the difference, or, haven't have trauma or haven't been treated properly, or whatever it may be, because it's easier for them. So him being a monster is, completely on him.
Yeah, for sure.
And anyone out there listening or watching your story, same thing, it's not your fault. If you don't know, you don't know. And that's why these conversations should exist. And, these types of podcasts and episodes, because you're bringing it to light so that people will know, so that they will hear you say it and they will know. And you're helping someone know that before they ever walk into that situation.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important and so brave and so powerful what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And they always say the first year of dating, you're learning about that person, their personality, what they do, how, when they get mad, when they get, like, you're learning about that person within the first year. The second year or so on, you're still learning about that person, but there's certain things that will start clicking in your brain. You're like, oh, this is not good. Or, oh, it's like, with me being a survivor now, it's more, is this healthy? Learn about that person, because you never know what's going to happen 8 years, 10 years, so many years down the road, because the first couple of years you're learning about that person and how they do their anger, or how they kind of manipulate you in so many ways. Like, if you know that you don't want to be treated that way and you're so early on in the relationship, get the heck out and run. But if you're stuck in that relationship, seek help. Go to church, go to your safe zone person, go to, if they don't have a tracker on your phone or a car or whatever, go to the police department and ask for advice, or like, there, and just say, hey, I'm in this situation, I don't know what this is. And
victims advocates too, like I always say, it's like literally the only thing I ever say. But I think victims advocates are so important and so helpful and so, like, trauma informed, and just like having someone to talk to that understands and can validate you makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
In a situation like that.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so what would you say now that you're getting through your healing journey? You're probably gonna be on your healing journey for a long time, but you're so far into it. What would you say now to yourself 10 years ago? Like, about, like, what would you speak to yourself then?
I would
with what you don't know.
I'd probably say to myself 10 years ago, don't go out with him. Like, even though I had a little blessing little girl, don't go with him. He's a mess. He could do a lot of trauma, and he will break you down. I deserve so much better.
Yeah. And you feel that. You genuinely feel that. Like, you genuinely feel like you are so beyond that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You genuinely feel like you were so much better than that situation. And you know what I mean? Like, you deserve so much more. You genuinely feel it.
Yeah.
Like, you've worked so hard.
I have. It's to a lot of people that see me now, they look at me like, you lost weight, or you look more healthy, you look positive. I was like, the reason why I'm positive is because my faith and the support system. Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm sure, like, your body's responding too, like, getting out of that. Do you feel like you may have been, like, in some, like, a fight or flight situation? Like, even prior to having your baby girl, like, even prior to that, being in that relationship, like, that lifestyle you were living with him, like, the ups and downs and the roller coasters, do you feel like your body was kind of, like, in and out of, like, fight or flight, like the trauma responses all the time?
Oh, yeah. Half of the time, I was on fight mode a lot. I did not sleep. I think I developed sleep apnea. half the time I couldn't sleep, and then when we had our good weeks, I was able to sleep more, but when we were on the rocks, I did not sleep. I couldn't, like, rest my mind.
Yeah.
So that was very hard. I still have struggles like that right now,
Mhm.
just in general, but luckily enough, I have my service dog with me, and she knows my
Yeah.
signals, and she will actually help me remember doing breath methods,
Yeah.
even meditation music that helps me. Um,
Absolutely.
just kind of like being tuned with your own body,
Mhm.
and kind of like I want to tell myself, like, hey, you're gonna be a strong, independent woman one day, but don't go with that person. You could find someone else better. Like, don't hurry up and get married, or like I was 10 years ago, I was pretty much all my friends were in relationships. They were like starting to somewhat settle down and graduating
Mhm.
college and all that stuff. So I was like, what about me kind of thing. So I was in that thing. And then top of that, yes, I was in a hurry to get out of my parents' home.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like one of those things I wanted to be with, along with my fellow peers. So pretty much like take your time if your parents are willing to help with whatever, or your support
Absolutely.
group, your people, take your time and find that right person. Because once you
There's
find
no
that right
rush.
person, you'll know.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
for
there's no
sure.
rush. No
No.
rush.
No rush at all.
No rush to fit in a box. You know what I mean? Because everybody goes at their own pace. You know what I mean? Everybody
Mm.
grows at their own pace, and no rush. I'm sure a lot of people do. A lot of women, I will say, feel that pressure,
Yeah,
to like, oh, I gotta, all my other friends are married and they have a child. Like, I gotta go get married and have a child. There's so much pressure behind that.
yeah,
And yeah, I would like to get rid of that stigma for sure for people in general. Like, just take your time, just be you,
yeah. There's always
love
an option.
you. Yeah,
If you want to,
just love
there's an
yourself.
option. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And surprisingly, there are a lot of women that I have met because I'm also in my 30s. I'm 34,
Okay.
and I have colleagues that are in the same situation. They took their time, with getting married and things like that, and they're reaching a point where they want so badly to carry a child,
Yeah,
but they can't. They physically can't for whatever reason. They waited too long or whatever it may be.
mm,
Um, but it's amazing because they come so far healing themselves, like as a person, and
yeah,
finding their right person to the point now they're like, I can adopt and I'm going to be a phenomenal mother. They're able to accept that because that's hard for women to accept, is the fact that they can't physically carry.
exactly.
I mean, it's a hard thing for a woman to have to face.
Yeah,
So for that stigma to be changing, the stigma is changing. You know what I mean? All these women don't feel so pressured that they have to do this. They can be a phenomenal mother to a stepchild or to, an adoption, going through adoption.
being a mother doesn't mean by blood. A mother can be not blood related.
If there was something that it's like a two-part question, I guess. So I was wondering if there's something that that you wish someone would have said to you, or, a support that you wish would have been there, or how you think people could better help people that are in a situation like yours, like people that you come in contact with, or, people that you meet at work or whatever. Like, is there a way that they could better support someone like you?
Or better approach it, right? Or
Yeah.
that too, like, yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much after the whole thing, because yes, the law enforcement did come to my job and ask questions because they all saw Alia a week or two before it all happened. So
Mhm.
they saw a healthy baby girl. So pretty much pre um the one that survived as just as before, but understand, like, for me, with me going back to work, yes, it was 1 day a week, and yes, I did work in a public eye. That was hard because, like, I had to watch out for the media. I had to watch out for a lot of things. Not a lot of coworkers can't ask me certain questions about the situation, but it would have been nice to be like, if I struck up the conversation, like, oh, how's it been? Like, has it been busy? Or, um, how is so and so? Like, at least like the typical everyday conversation that you always have had with your colleague. Keep that, because don't exclude them, don't like avoid them. Just kind of like do little small talk, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, that will help that person to get forward and not be like dragging their feet, like, "Ugh, I have to go to work." So,
Yeah.
like, I was very fortunate to have a few coworkers that were like that, kept pretty much um treating me as always, and that really helped. Yeah, I had my days, but it was nice to like they come in, they're like, "How are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need anything?" More like that. So like keep your colleague always, just kind of like go the extra mile, be like, "How are you doing? Do you need anything? Do you need to sit down? Do you
Yeah.
need a break?" Because at the end of the day, we're people too. And yeah, we went through hell and back, but it would be nice to have that extra support system with a colleague.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
To
Like
feel,
community.
yeah, to feel like you're seen, you're heard, and they're there if you need anything. Like, yeah, like you said, like extra support for sure.
Even though, like, for me, I couldn't talk about this situation, I had to, like, keep it quiet. I
Yeah.
couldn't go on Facebook, I couldn't go on Instagram, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
very
That's
hard because that was my source of, like, um out, like, to speak out, but I couldn't even talk about the case. I couldn't talk about anything when people had questions from like, "I am so sorry, I can't talk about it." Like, it's an
yeah.
ongoing case. But as soon as the case was done, a lot of people did have questions for me, and I was able to answer. And that's when I decided to start talking about my journey. We need to voice out our red flags more to people, and just like tell our safe people like, "Hey, I know this is what I think, and if this is a red flag to you, please let me know and help me to get out of that situation."
This episode is in honor of Alyasandra Lucille. Before we close today's episode, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the weight of what you just heard. Amber trusted us with her story, a story of love, loss, survival, and unimaginable grief. And if any part of this episode resonated with you, if it stirred something uncomfortable, familiar, or painful, please know this: you are not alone, and help is available. If you are experiencing abuse, coercive control, emotional manipulation, or violence, or if you feel unsafe in your relationship, you deserve support and protection. You can reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE or text START to 88788. You can also call the National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD. That's 1-800-422-4453. If you are in immediate danger, please call 911 or your local emergency number. Reaching out doesn't mean you have to know exactly what to say. It just means you're taking a step towards safety. And finally, we want to say this clearly: what happened to Alia should never have happened. Her life mattered. Her story matters. And speaking about it matters. Thank you for listening. Thank you for bearing witness. And to Amber, your voice, your strength, and your truth will not be forgotten. This is the first episode of many in our Victims' Voices series, and we hope that you'll join us next time for the next life-changing story.